Welcome to New Brunswick, New Jersey. Today we're out here doing something a little different, doing a first flight. Got the Radiomaster Pocket. As you can see, I swapped it to the yellow case, which I think looks more green than yellow, but again, I'm colorblind, so I don't really know, to be honest. I wanted to do kind of a first flight with it. I've never flown this radio before. This is absolutely the first time I've been up in the air with it, so I want to see and get my first reaction of how the radio flies, how it feels. Before I dive into that first flight, I wanted to go through and talk about the actual process of switching everything over to the radio. Because I think overall, the Radiomaster Pocket's build quality is actually pretty fantastic. At the $65 price point, I don't think I was expecting as much quality out of the build, the plastics, and all the bits of the radio. I will say that out of the box, the switches on the top did feel a little sticky. These guys right up here. But after flying it and after using them a little bit, they've definitely freed up. I think they just needed to kind of self-clearance a little bit, and now they feel actually really good. Overall, all the buttons feel like they're in a good spot. The internals as well are really, really good. I will say if you are deciding to swap over your Radiomaster Pocket to a new case, be super careful with all the screws. They basically just bite into the plastic itself, so they're pretty easy to strip without too much force. I definitely got one of the screws a little bit too tight, so it did feel like it pulled the plastic and kind of started to spin a little bit, but overall, aside from that one screw issue, just be gentle when you're putting the radio back together and you should be all set. As for the gimbals, obviously the AGO ones don't fit. All the reviews that I've seen, they kind of tried it. I did match up my AGO 1 minis from my Radiomaster Zorro to it just to see. And yeah, you need to do some pretty severe cutting and manipulation to make it work and make it fit. One of the biggest features that I like so far, just from holding this thing in my hand, is it does feel solid. Really, really solid. The plastics feel great. The only part that doesn't really feel solid is these aren't solid back here. I'm saying solid a lot today. These grips are not rigid. They're basically a soft rubber, which is great for feel, but it does mean the back of the radio squishes a little bit because the battery compartments are more or less open. So there's no hard piece of material between your hands and the battery. It's just the grip material itself. So it can feel a little spongy on those grips, but overall, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it actually makes the radio pretty comfortable. As for the range, we're gonna test it right now and kind of get a rough idea of what it is, but I've never really needed more than that 250 milliwatts on the Radiomaster Zorro. I don't expect it to be a real big issue. I will comment on it probably in the video. One of the reasons the radio is such a personal thing for most FPV pilots is hand shape is so different, and also how you grip the radio, whether you use thumbs, a hybrid pinch, or you go straight full pinch. Your grip on the radio makes a huge difference on what feels most comfortable to you. And I will say, for this radio, if you are a hybrid pincher, which I am, it does make it a little awkward to hit the arm and disarm switch up here. I actually kind of wish that they flipped those around, having the momentary button up on the shoulder, and then having the switch down there at the bottom be the arm switch. Again, this is just me and my personal preference. You may be different, but it's something to at least acknowledge, because again, if you're coming from a Zorro, if you're coming from a Boxer, you may have a little trouble disarming, and at least know that going in. I don't think there's any better way to test out the radio than go for a first flight, see how she does. So let's get into it right now. Grind arena's plugged in, Pocket's connected up, and let's go for a first flight. This is the first time I've flown any drone with the Pocket, so we're gonna see how it does. Get a little bit of a range test. Okay, so the hybrid pinch method of control, not the best. And this feels really touchy compared to when I fly this grind arena with my Boxer. I'm trying to figure out this hybrid pinch. Okay, so these gimbals are very short throw. I feel like this is going to be less of a concern with the whoops, but definitely with a 5-inch, I think this is a little too touchy for me. But then again, I prefer flying a bigger radio with full-size gimbals. Whoa, yeah, I just don't feel like. Try it. So I'm out here trying this Matty flip over this little branch. Ooh, that's interesting. So I'm over there by that tree. So I'm probably about 500 or so feet away. Yeah, I just don't feel confident. I mean, again, it may be just new radio, soft, spongy gimbals. Actually, let me retract that. The gimbals feel really good. Like, they feel very smooth. I tend to run my gimbals pretty loose, so this is very much on the looser side of gimbals. But I think what I'm not liking is, like, I think what I'm not liking is that it doesn't feel like I have a ton of precision. This may be because the sticks are short. This may be because I'm not used to the size of the radio. But there's something that doesn't feel quite right. It doesn't feel quite as tight as when I fly this with the Boxer. And again, this is first flight, still getting used to this radio. I think overall, like, it feels good. For a $64 radio, this thing is fantastic. I also wouldn't necessarily compare this directly to something like the Boxer or even the Zorro, because this really is truly a budget radio, and the Zorro and the Boxer are, I mean, they run the same gimbals as the TX16S for the most part. So while they're inexpensive radios, I wouldn't necessarily call them budget radios like this radio. At $64, I do not know that you can find a better radio. The features involved, the overall build quality of the radio, I expect it to be way less, like, lower quality. But overall, I am pretty impressed. I know people are not going to like these gimbals because they don't feel like the AGO1s. I don't think they feel as good as the regular Zorro or the regular Boxer gimbals either. It may just be that I'm used to flying the Boxer and the Zorro, and so I'm used to those bigger, longer throw gimbals, and so this is kind of it's just different. But overall, I think, yeah, I mean, I'm having no problems chucking the quad around. It is much easier to find the ends of the travel, because again, the gimbals I think are smaller. I mean, that's unavoidable with a radio this size. I think if they had an AGO1, I don't know that I'd even put an AGO1 in this radio. I just wish they'd make a Boxer with this little folding antennas. I think where I'm going with that. There I am hanging out. Yeah, it definitely feels touchier. If I'm flying this on the Boxer, I feel like I have all the precision in the world. We're here both from the throttle and the pitch, roll, and yaw sticks. I feel like I don't have the same precision that I do with the Boxer. That said, I think this might actually not be as bad or as big an issue with a whoop. So I think this radio might be better suited for a whoop, unless you're really used to those smaller radios. That was a dirty power loop. Let's try that again. Much better power loop. Let's come in and land. Okay. Ouch. A little bit of a bonus flight. I'm actually gonna try a 5-inch now with the Radiomaster Pocket to see how I feel about that throttle control, because that really was the only thing that, I don't wanna say bugged because it's not really a bug. It was the only thing that didn't feel completely perfect about the way the controller was in my hand. So I'm gonna give this 5-inch a try, make sure the repair works because I had to replace a motor in it, but let me set you down and let's get up in the air. Okay. In the goggles. And let's arm. First time flying a 5-inch. Weirdly enough, I actually feel like the 5-inch I feel like the 5-inch might feel better on this remote than the Grinderino. The Grinderino is super light and kind of twitchy, so I would kind of expect it to be more sensitive. But to a regular 5-inch, oh yeah. Yeah, on a regular 5-inch, the Radiomaster Pocket actually feels great. I definitely don't feel like I have the same precision that I do with the Radiomaster Boxer. But again, the gimbals aren't nearly as large a throw. So I think technically if I put longer control sticks on this, it would actually feel about the same. Overall, I think with a 5-inch, woo, Radiomaster Pocket. Yeah, definitely finding those ends of the gimbal travel is a thing. It is shockingly easy to find the end of the travel. And also, I'm so glad the practice drone's flying great again. I was really mad that it was not doing so well this weekend. Okay, let me just bring it back towards me. Yep, that happened. And there we go. That was my first flight with the Radiomaster Pocket on both a 3.5-inch and a 5-inch drone. All in all, pretty good. I know at the start of that 3.5-inch flight, I harped a lot on the gimbals. The more I flew it, the better I thought it felt. I will definitely say at the end of the 5-inch flight, when I disarmed, I accidentally spiked the throttle because, again, a smaller radio means that A, it's more sensitive, so a little tap can be a whole lot of throttle, but also it's not the same shape as the Boxer, obviously. So for me, flipping back and forth between the Boxer and the Radiomaster Pocket may be a little challenging because on the Boxer, well, I guess it's on this side. On the Boxer, my disarm and arm switch is down here and my pre-arm switch is on the opposite side. And so I'm just not quite used to what the Pocket feels like. Next thing up for the Pocket, I think, is going to be flying a bunch of whoops with it. I don't have any whoops with me today, but I really wanted to make this first look video, and I figured what better way than with the Grinderino, and I also had a 5-inch with me anyway, so I figured I'd give it a whirl. So all in all, very big thumbs up on the Pocket. The overall fit, finish, and feel of the radio is top tier, as I'd expect from Radiomaster. The gimbals are definitely smaller, and it's definitely something you will notice, especially if you're coming from a Boxer or a TX16S with those full-size gimbals. But if you're coming from the Zorro, I think it probably won't be a big change. The thumbsticks are not your traditional RC thumbsticks. They basically unscrew similar to the DJI controllers. And so I'm gonna see if I can get some aftermarket thumbsticks that might feel a little better and see if that helps. But all in all, the range feels good, the quality feels good, the control feels good. Pretty big thumbs up on the Radiomaster Pocket. The only thing I will say is, again, it is a different shape radio, it is slightly sensitive, and if you put in a small amount of input, it's quite large. So if you have a twitchier flying drone, like my Grinderino, it may not feel great, and that's what I was experiencing out of the gate. With all that said, thank you for joining me today. As always, Amazon affiliate links down below for the Radiomaster Pocket if you want to hit them. They help out the channel, they don't cost you anything, Leave me a comment if you've flown the Radiomaster Pocket or if you have a preference on radio, because I feel like radios are the most personal thing in FPV, and you like what you like, and that is the radio you should fly. And so if you like gamepad style remotes or you want a small portable remote, I definitely would recommend the Radiomaster Pocket. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and also subscribe to this channel so you're notified when more videos drop. It really helps in the YouTube algorithm, and I would really much appreciate it because I want to hit 1,000 subscribers. With all that said, thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.